Doing something a little different here today on the D. We're live on all Disruption Network social media platforms. It's Friday. You don't normally see this ugly facha of mine on a Friday, but I felt like entertaining you people of Central New York just because of my guest, who's highly entertaining. But before we get to the guest, got to give a shout out to EJA Moving Service. This is the professional movers. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit up Eddie right now at 315-335-0516. Hit him up online at ejamoving.com. They give you free boxes. They pack your boxes, and they bring those boxes wherever they need to go. When you're ready to move your grandmother into a nursing home, or if you want to move to California, or if you want to move your office, your gym equipment, if you got music gear you want to move, if you want to move a piano, EJA can do all of that for you. Tell them Uncle Z sent you. 315-335-0516. Big shout out to Utica Coffee, Saranac Brewery, my attorney Dave Longretta. If you need legal advice, give him a call today at 315-735-6162. And big ups to my good friend Matt Grabsky over at Joey's at 307. Got the Joey's mug rocking today. Thank you so much to Grabsky. If you want a good meal this weekend, they got a great seafood menu. They got a revolving dinner menu. They even do catering. Give them a call. Set up a reservation, 315-864-3527.
Yeah, get that reservation because it's really good, but sometimes it's tough to get in. But the food it's worth it. You know what I'm saying?
Don't you think Joey's is like taking over the culinary industry here in Utica right now?
So good,
right?
So good.
I was going to ask you if you've been there.
Oh yeah, I haven't dined there.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, COVID. But I've gotten takeout.
Yeah,
and so good.
Big Poppa Gary Spears in the house with me today, and that's exactly why we're doing a Friday.
I jumped in. My bad.
No, it's cool. You radio guys are all the same.
Yes.
It's good to see you, man.
You too, man.
We were doing a home and home this week. I was on Mix 102 back on Tuesday, and as Gary likes to refer to it as well as we all should, local supporting local, and that's what we're doing here today. Gary and I go way back since we figured it out. Since 1995?
95.
Yeah.
95, and people don't realize that because we don't hang out on the regular,
right?
But every time we see each other,
we got to change that.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. The problem is, especially now that everything's opening up, it's schedule wise because between your stuff and you have 17 different jobs on top of the D, and then myself, it's tough to kind of line that stuff up. So legit, the only time I really get to talk to my friends is when I have them on the show.
Yeah.
So,
or if you see them at a wedding, right?
Yeah.
You DJ so many weddings.
Seriously. So we met in 95 and we did a bunch of stuff then, and then our lives took us apart, and then we bump into each other all the time, and it's always great to see you. We always catch up and whatnot.
For sure.
And then and then it's just on to our next thing, and then life happens. It's nothing bad about anything. It's literally life.
Yeah, we were like Tango and Cash back at the EC on St. Patrick's Day too. We'd go, you DJ for an hour, I DJ for an hour, you do a shot of whatever. I do Jello shots from my mom. Yeah,
I was about to bring up your mom because we get all set up and make sure you get Jello shots from my mom over in the corner. How is your mom?
She's doing good, and I'm sure she'll be chiming in at any moment. So.
Awesome.
So we are live on all Disruption Network social media platforms. If you are watching us on Facebook, if you could do us a favor and click the share button. Where does the moniker Big Poppa come from? What was the origins of that?
Well, when I started in morning radio, I was with Frank McBride on Rock 107. It was Frank McBride and The Big Show. So you could either take me as The Big Show or the show was The Big Show, and I was just the sidekick.
You know I got well.
Exactly.
Shout out Just Joe.
Exactly. So we when I moved over to KISS, my name doesn't really stand out. I feel like it's pretty generic. Plus, there's another DJ that's been in like Chicago and LA called Gary Spears.
Oh.
So my favorite song when I was in college is Mo Money, Mo Problems by Biggie. And right in the middle of it, he goes, BIGPOPPA. And that's where I got it from. That's where I got it from. So, yeah.
And then Frank McBride probably made it stick, right?
He can make anything stick. I miss that guy. I really do.
Me too. I miss him. What a loss, but what an amazing talent. Funny as hell.
Yeah, and the way that worked was he was taking over the morning show, and he and I had seen each other in passing. I worked at the station doing weekends and stuff like that. He called me up. He's like, "Hey, I'm not a radio guy. I'm a car guy that can tell stories. So will you be my sidekick and, run all the stuff and help me get through this?" And that was how I got into being a sidekick on morning radio. And I did it for 3-4 years.
Yeah, you guys had a great dichotomy. I thought you mixed well together.
It was, and he and I mean, you know how it is when you work with somebody on a regular basis, especially doing radio. You are locked in a room for 4 hours, 5 days a week.
Is this the old Rock 107 studios?
Yeah.
Which was only like 3x3. It was the smallest studio ever.
Yeah, in Washington Mills, it was like a modular with like a 2-room addition,
And you were in a closet.
yeah, and we were off in the corner, and we were locked in together. And whenever you're doing something like that, you have to have a chemistry, and you also have to have a trust. And you have to be able to, when you have a bad day or someone else, the other guy is having a bad day, we literally have had a screw you, no screw you. Okay, we got to go on. Boom. And you turn it on and you go. And we say our piece, we move on, and that was it, And it was just a really, really special time. And the stuff that we did on Rock 107, which was early 2000s, if you're a wrestling fan, it was the Attitude Era. So the stuff that we got away with then, no way we could get away with now.
Yeah, right. It's too PC.
Yeah. Oh,
way too PC.
Oh, man.
I got 2 words for you.
like we did our show. We had a thing called Legs and Eggs, and we did our morning show. Frank McBride, myself, Rock 107. We did it live from Peepers, and we sold it.
Yeah,
and we got the blessing from management, and so we were live 6 to 10, but they couldn't open until 7. And we had somebody from one of the local diners come in and was making eggs and sausage and toast and stuff. Like, they were legit serving breakfast, for Legs and Eggs. So we did the first hour, and 7 o'clock hit. The doors open, and it was a stampede of blue-collar men coming in on a Friday, having breakfast. Like, there were lap dances going on. It was incredible. Granted, there's no way we'd be able to do something like that now, but being able to look back and be like, wow, we did this, and how cool was that? I'm starting to get a lot of those, like, flashbacks and thinking back now. I've realized I've been around for a while.
Yeah, you have. You're old. So the radio, do they do stunts anymore like that? Remember, what was some of the crazy things? I know you did some crazy shit. I did some crazy shit back in the day too. Yeah. Do they even do those kind of stunts anymore with the interns?
Well, it's tough because it's a sue happy society.
Yeah.
All it takes is
it's very sensitive.
All it takes is one stupid DJ in the Midwest to do something. The entire company gets sued, and it's a couple $1 million, and all of a sudden it's like, so we don't even come close to the Mendoza line. And at this point, there's so much has been done. So people have pushed the envelope, especially in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
At this point, if you're trying to push the envelope, it's already been pushed, and most people can kind of see through it at this point and realize, oh, it's just for publicity.
Right.
A lot of people are
right.
cynics like that now.
And now everybody has a platform on social media. Yep. So you can't get away with much. You're right about that. You can't. No, it's unfortunate, though, because that's what made radio fun back in the day. These morning zoo radio programs or whatever they were referred to as. There was a lot of fun. And, of course, Howard Stern leading the way and Opie and Anthony. I mean, there's some legendary stuff that went on with those guys. But after those guys, there was really nothing more you can do. They kind of did it all, and you're just kind of following suit with what they were doing.
And with this, and what it's kind of dialed into is exactly while we're here, it's turned into local and, taking care of local businesses and being a local company and supporting local causes and local charities and all that stuff. Like, that's what it's turned into. And I love the fact that it's like that, especially because, you and I were both born and raised here. So the fact that we're able to do that, I mean, it really is special. And the fact that we've been able to be a part of so many different charitable things and being able to help so many businesses not only survive but thrive at different points and build up, and like it's incredible.
And create events.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I missed throughout COVID was the events. We would pack up the D and go broadcast live somewheres, and we, doing it forever. And I mean, you've been doing it forever too. Radio has changed definitely, but I like what you're saying too as change for the local side of community.
Yeah, and with anything, you have to adapt and morph with what you're doing. So Galaxy, locally owned radio stations, it started, and now it's a media company. It does events, it does sports marketing.
Right.
They're involved with the Comets and SU and the Crunch and events, and like they're the force behind Taste of Syracuse
Yep.
and also Lights on the Lake. And with Taste Syracuse not going on, they're doing picnics in the park out in the Syracuse area.
Oh, cool.
Again, just because they couldn't do Taste of Syracuse, so there was a way of modifying it. And it looks like we may have something around Christmas time here.
I know all about it, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
So that hypothetically, allegedly, there may be something fun.
I know
coming around the holidays.
We'll talk about it after because I'm definitely going to be involved with some of that stuff. Did you always want to be in radio growing up? What did you want to be when you were growing up?
When I was in 3rd grade, I was Student of the Month.
Oh,
and
do you still have the plaque? Is it still on your refrigerator?
Well, it's on my mom's. But it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was a radio DJ, and it was a professional wrestler, and it was a magician.
Okay.
And
how do you combine all three?
Pretty much this. Look, I disappeared. You can't see me. So the professional wrestling thing, I hurt my head when I was a little kid, and so that really. I get concussions a lot, so that really ruled that out.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, awful. Post-concussion syndrome, I had that a few years ago. Like, it is no joke.
Oh, man.
Like, if you break your leg, and I'll get back to the other question. Like, if you break your leg or you're on crutches or you have a cast on or a sling, people can see that you're injured. If you have a head injury, you look fine, but you're not. Same thing with like tooth pain and back pain. Nobody sees it unless they see the grimace on your face.
Right.
So like it was no joke for a little bit. But yeah, I would practice. I got the little magic book when I was a kid, and I would try it, and I would show my mom, and she'd be like, "Oh, that's great." And I'd be like, "Here's how I did it." And so I was really bad at keeping the magic secret. And and I was the kid that annoyed Linda Ray Kuchenbacher in like 3rd grade and would call up every single morning.
You're that kid.
I was that kid. And I apologized to Kook and Linda many, many times when our paths crossed when I became an adult. So
sorry, guys. My mom's saying hello.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Also, shout out to Sarah over there on YouTube. Thanks for checking in. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the share button. Help spread the word. You can find Gary on Mix 102 FM here in the Utica, Rome area. He's on from 3 o'clock, does afternoon drive. Now, how long have you had that slot now?
I've been at Mix a little over 3 years now.
It's kind of tailor-made for you.
It really is. Mm-hmm. It really is. As with everything, you kind of grow and morph. I was on a station that was a little bit younger, and I was just aging out of it. And, and so the stuff that I could relate to and people could relate to me, the target demo really wasn't. So I took the opportunity to go to a spot where I was able to communicate with our target demo now. So
since you've been on radio for so long, what's the one song that you have to listen to every time it's on the radio? And what's this one song that you can't stand to listen to? Plus, you're also a DJ. You do weddings and events and stuff like that. So I'm sure that list is pretty big. So you can rattle off a couple of them.
Especially coming from like DJ world, I hate Love Shack.
Right. I'm with you there.
I hate Love Shack. But a song that I will, absolutely turn up anytime is Shameless by Garth Brooks.
Okay.
Absolutely, the story of that song is just absolutely great. And Billy Joel wrote it. So there's actually a Billy Joel version on one of his CDs. So it was really, really good.
Huh.
Yeah.
Have you always been into music? Was music your thing too?
Yeah, like I sang in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I played the cello in high school.
Did you?
I actually worked at a theme park when I was in college.
Which theme park was that?
It was Coney Island.
You worked at Coney Island?
Coney Island in Cincinnati. There's 2 Coney Islands. There's the one just a little far away, and then there's one in Cincinnati. It's right next to Riverbend, like Cincinnati's version of SPAC.
Okay.
So it hosts the largest swimming pool, in-ground swimming pool. The shallow or the big end was bigger than an acre, and they had I think it was 12 diving boards across the back.
Wow.
They had a lifeguard in a rowboat in the deep end just in case. Like that's how big and whatnot it was. But yeah, I sang and danced and did that, and it was like 3 guys, 3 girls. It was like being in the real world. Mm-hmm. So we were 3 guys, 3 girls, 6 of us. We didn't know each other all coming in. We lived together, we worked together, and that was one summer of doing that. And then when I came back, I got my first full-time radio gig, and I just never looked back.
Oh, right on. And
yeah.
You were also in the Rhythm Lights at one time too.
Yeah, and that's where that's how I kind of was able to do that. And honestly, being in the Rhythm Lights kind of helped me be where I am today too, because the stuff that I learned and the stuff that I did, whether it be radio or whether it be when I DJ out, like there's no way I'd be able to do what I do the way that I do it without that experience, and I'm so grateful for that.
Do you feel like being in the Rhythm Lights helped develop your character?
Yeah, absolutely, because everybody thought I was gay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time because I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah. You were a happy-go-lucky kid.
I was.
You were.
I was happy-go-lucky, growing up in Floyd. And I wasn't a snowmobile guy. I wasn't a hunter. I wasn't like an outdoorsy, I didn't do that stuff.
Right.
But I loved this. This is what I enjoyed doing. And because I enjoyed it, I didn't see why everyone else didn't see that way. And because I grew up in Floyd, I didn't see a lot of other things. So I just assumed, I'm just happy in my little bubble. And I didn't know until like years after high school that that's what, people thought. And no, that's not the case. Not that there's anything wrong. I'm just, they were wrong.
You got kids, and you definitely like vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's man. So give me, what I want from you? A good pinch me moment. You've been in this career for a long time now. Give me a good pinch me moment. I can't believe my career has led me to this moment. I know I put people on the spot.
No. There's a bunch, and I definitely am appreciative of that. I've been able to do way too many things that a kid from Floyd should, be allowed to do. Mm-hmm. Like I crossed off everything on my bucket list by the time I was 35.
Wow.
And, so now I'm adding to it and trying to find new things to challenge myself to do. One of my favorites is I was on stage. Now, I was working for a competing company. I told you Galaxy is the company that puts on the Taste of Syracuse.
Yep.
The headline act of the Taste of Syracuse one year was Bret Michaels.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with his lead guitar player, Pete. And so whenever he's in town, like within like a 4-hour radius, he'll hit me up and be like, hey, you coming in? And so I just go. I hung out the whole time, and we're on the stage. And so the morning show from Galaxy comes up, introduces, they have to leave. Nobody from the radio company is allowed on the stage. And here I am. I work for a competing radio station. I'm on the stage drinking Southern Comfort from the bottle as Bret Michaels is rocking out on that thing. That was a really cool. That was one of those. Wow, this is really. I don't know if I should be up here. Yeah, I should be up here. This is fun.
I'm glad you bring up his name, man, because I get this question asked a lot because of, my background and work in production and stuff.
Right.
Like, who is some of the coolest artists or rock stars you've ever met? And I always say Bret Michaels.
Yeah.
And I've seen you back there many times.
Yeah.
State Fair comes to mind. Last time he was up at the State Fair, and Bret's cool, man. He's like one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. And I always say that rock stars need to take a page out of his book because the level of professionalism is head and shoulders above the rest. He takes time for all his fans. He sits there and hugs all the broken down showgirls that come see him.
Yeah.
He does, right? But he's just so cool and genuine, and he takes the time for people, and then he's always donating to a charity of a local charity.
He donated to the Kelberman Center.
Kelberman Center was one? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he and just Bret is such a beautiful human being, and I always will brag about him. He was playing football. You remember we were playing football backstage, just throwing the football around, hanging out.
No,
it's like,
absolutely.
It felt like we were like best friends, and he makes you feel welcomed, and he makes you feel like you're his best friend.
And here's how I became friends with Pete, who's his tour manager. I had him on the show. I've been I love that 80s hair rock, Poison, Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, that's my jam right there. And my boy Heichel and I randomly got tickets off of StubHub and went to go see, it was Lita Ford, Poison, and Def Leppard at SPAC. And we get there during Lita Ford. Okay, we heard the one song. We got our drinks. We go down. Poison came. They kicked ass, and then Def Leppard came on, kind of a snooze fest. So we decided to leave early. We gave our
surprised.
We gave our tickets to somebody who was like out in the lawn part, so they could go in and actually sit down and whatnot. And probably a couple months later, I'm talking to Bret because he's coming to the Turning Stone, and I list off. I'm like, oh, you guys did great. Fallen Angel, and like I'm not just hitting like Every Rose Has Its Thorn. I'm hitting off a bunch of different songs, and he invited me to sing on stage with him
At the Turning Stone?
At the Turning Stone. And I'm like, absolutely. So he puts me in touch with Pete. And we're going back and forth. And okay, when do you want me to be there? I'm being when do you want me to be there? Where do you want me to do? Da da da. And so we're there. People are asking me if it's coming up. Da 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 da. And I don't end up getting called up to sing. I'm in the audience. We're hanging out. It was a great show. After the show, I'll go back for the meet and greet, and I come up, like, hey, Big Poppa, where were you? You were supposed, I wanted you to sing, and da 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 da. And I'm like, hey, it just didn't happen. Not a problem. I'm not worried about it. I'm just thankful to be here. I'm literally anytime I'm able to do something like that, I'm just happy to be there. I'm not one of those. Well, don't you know who I am? I pulled that once when I was drunk, and I still regret it. But so the night ends, and then I get a phone call. It's at 1:30, and it's from Pete, and he's like, I am so sorry. Now he and I, like, we just, it was casual at that point. I'm so sorry. I totally messed up. It was the first day of our tour. We were having tech issues. I forgot to bring you back. That's my fault. I am sorry. I deeply apologize. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. It's fine. So when he came back the next year, it was like I made shirts. I went to A&P, made shirts, Big Poppa's bucket list on it. And they brought me back. And Pete and I have been friends ever since. Like, we legit text probably on a weekly basis, just being like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Especially during the pandemic, because when you're a performer and not being able to get out, it really, messes with your mind a little bit.
Did you get on stage to sing with him?
Yes.
Yeah, so you finally did?
That's cool. It's on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
It's on there. Yeah, I got to sing on there. There was another time when I was literally just hanging out on the side of the stage enjoying the show, and he's like, Poppa, come on. And there's bongos there. So I played bongos during one of the shows. Whatever.
You're playing bongos during Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Yeah. Incredible.
Moyer's saying, what's up? Hey, Tim, good to see you, man. Thanks for checking in. Again, if you guys are out there on Facebook land, please click the share button. Now, Gary, you do a lot of interviews. Was there an interview that stands out that was really uncomfortable for you to do?
What's uncomfortable is when, especially when you're doing celebrities, is when they give you the PR people give you parameters. Don't ask about this. Mm-hmm. Like I interviewed Amy Fisher back in the day. And, okay, here's Amy Fisher. We want you to promote this. By the way, don't ask about the Buttafuoco's.
Then what else do you want me to ask her?
Right.
Nothing else to ask her.
It's stuff like that make it a challenge. It's always interesting when celebrities accidentally cuss on the air. We at this point we pre-record those and make sure that that's all taken care of and whatnot. But one of my favorites is Queen Latifah. I had Queen Latifah. She was promoting Just Right, which is the basketball movie, and I had to come back in the evening to do it just because of the timing. And so we're doing the interview. We're about a couple minutes in. She's like, "Oh my gosh, can you hold?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can hold on." So she puts me on hold, and there's hold music. And I'm like, all right, cool. And she's like, I am so sorry. I'm like, all right. I'm like, how do you have like hold music at your house? She's like, there was hold music, like the ice cream truck. I'm like, yeah. Oh, she's like, I'm at a hotel.
Like the ice cream truck.
Yeah. So it's little stuff like that where you get to see kind of like the real them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, too, is like there's some that are out there that are super cool. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like we talk about Bret Michaels, but there's some out there that could be real assholes.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. You knew Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
This is when I was, I think we just caught him on a bad day. Because he had a talk show at the time. I was with McBride, and they were like, hey, don't talk about Whose Line Is It Anyway? Don't ask him to do any song parodies. Just focus on the talk show. All right, cool. And he was just like, he was real. You know what it was? It was more of he wasn't what we've seen and what we expected because of, he turns it on and whatnot. So he was really subdued and just kind of like, and that was it. And Patton Oswalt was another one that was a little awkward. Comedian, does cartoon voices and stuff. And he got on there, and instead of doing what he's on there to do, let's be honest, the reason the celebrities do this is to get exposure for whatever, project they're promoting. And so you come in, be entertaining, promote the stuff, and get out. That's, this is kind of what it is. And he got on there, he wanted to talk politics.
Ugh.
And it's that's not what we do, but it just kind of is what it is, and you just make the best of it. And I've been, again, very lucky to be able to have done some of that stuff.
You've done a bunch of WWE guys too, haven't you?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite WWE guy you've talked to?
My favorite WWE, there's two. I got Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
As he was going into the I got him twice. Once with McBride, and he was going into the Hulk Hogan match. And McBride, I was like, really, you can't kick Hogan's ass. He's like, well, and then if you follow wrestling, Hogan didn't refuse to do the 3-match thing, and it was just going to be a one and done. And so Shawn Michaels oversold everything, the entire. He just flopped around and almost like a cartoon character. The second time was as he was going into the Hall of Fame. And I got him to tell the story of when he got his ass kicked.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah.
And he told that story.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Talk about it.
No, the way he phrased it, he's like, listen, I'm a different guy now.
Mm-hmm.
I was out with Davey and X-Pac, and I was really drunk, and I was talking to some girls. Some guy confronted me. Next thing I know, I'm in the hospital. That was literally his side of the story.
He got his ass kicked.
Oh, yeah.
He got his ass kicked.
Yeah, big time. Another Shawn Michaels story. I worked at the Odd when I was in high school. And I was the popcorn guy walking around and whatnot. When the WWE came to town, I got there early. And, I snuck in the ring and I went off the thing. I was super excited. But Goldust and Shawn Michaels were playing catch with a football. And I was just watching, going back and forth. And Shawn Michaels threw me the ball. And I threw it back. And I was like, he threw me the ball. So when I'm talking to Shawn that second time, I'm like, I told him that story. And he's like, oh, no, what did I do? Because back then he was, not a nice guy.
He was a drug addict.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, you threw me the ball. It was awesome. He's like, okay, good. All right. So there was that one. And then Kane. And this is before, he became a mayor and, he took the mask off and talked normally. So I'm thinking I'm going to get this. And I got Kane just talking, being like, hey, what's up? How are you? It was such a departure of what I expected on a good level that I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So yeah, those are my two favorites.
That's awesome, man. What a blessed life, isn't it, bro?
It really and truly is.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I've worked hard to get where I'm at, but at the same time, I'm very privileged to be able to do what I love for a living on both ends, the radio and also the performing, DJing out aspect of it. I've been able to do all kinds of things on both ends that I'm very appreciative of. And, I really don't even know what to say. I'm very thankful for that and appreciative. And every time I play out, I thank the audience and let them know that, they're the reason I get to do what I love for a living. Mm-hmm. And that is the truth, because if nobody comes out, I don't have a gig. If nobody listens, I don't have a gig.
That's true. Back to that Shawn Michaels story when he get beat up at Club Chameleon or wherever it was.
Yeah.
Bill Ali, Bill from Scars and Stripes, the band in Syracuse?
Yeah.
He brought Shawn Michaels and the crew to there. He's got a great story about that. I've had him on this podcast telling that story, and he was right in there, and he was a kid. Well, he was underage at the time, and he told the whole story about it. But you could go back and do a couple podcasts and listen to that. If people are interested in maybe hiring you for their wedding or DJ service, how do they get in touch with you?
Social media, Big Poppa CNY, BIGPOPPA CNY on all platforms.
Is your calendar starting to fill up?
A little bit, it's like the weddings and stuff from last year moving to this year, and now that everything's opened up, people are starting to pull the trigger on actually planning their wedding. Yeah. So yeah, it's starting to fill up pretty quick.
Now, when you Was it Music Masters Plus? It was. Okay, I got it right. I couldn't remember. From Brad Davies.
Yep,
right?
that's
Our
like
mentor.
that's one of the things that you and I did that nobody really knows about is you and I DJ'd weddings with Brad Davies for a few years.
Yep.
And we just had a blast
Yeah.
going. We used to do cans and clams at Babes.
You're taking the words right out of
Remember?
my mouth. Oh, yeah. It was
And
the beginning of Cans and Clams before Saranac Thursday, all that.
Yeah, before Saranac Thursday started, it was the big thing to do was cans and clams at Babes outside. And I was in high school. And so, you, me, and Brad, and one of Brad's friends, we would go and just hang out, and we would take turns. Whoever was talking, we'd like, okay, well, I'll hit the next song. And like, I remember one time we played Three Dog Night, Joy to the World, like 4 times that night because nobody was paying attention. And so we would be there, and I would have a good time, and then I would go into school the next day. And the friend was a substitute teacher at the school, and they happened to be there. And I'd be like, "Hello, Mr. So-and-so," and "Hello, Spears," and like we just said that nod, even though we were literally toasting.
Yeah.
The night before.
You're watching them do shots at the bar. It was a lot of fun back then.
Yeah.
And shout out to Sherry. Remember Sherry? She'd be dancing all over the place.
Sherry was awesome.
Yeah.
She would come and literally just dance with everybody and get she was a legit party starter. That's what she did. I normally see her on St. Patrick's Day. Like I don't see her any other day of the year, but I always see her on Parade Day, which is really awesome. Just to backtrack, I want to. Brad Davies,
yeah, of course.
I wouldn't be here without
Same.
him. He really took me under his wing and was a really amazing mentor to me early on. Because like I said, he got me when I was 17, through my early 20s, and I learned a lot from him.
What do you think the best thing you learned from him was?
Perception's reality. It's not what's real. It's what people see and what people think, and you always want to put that best foot forward, and always tip well, that kind of stuff, and because they may not say, "Hey, I recognize you," or "I know who you are," or whatever, but someone probably does, and if you're a bad tipper, that's going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth. Like it's little things like that mean a ton. And it took my mom a while to kind of break, I had to break her of being like a little stingy on the tip. I'm like, no, we have to tip well. And she finally got it. But it's like little things like that I don't have to do, but I choose to do because it's part of the gig, and a lot of people don't realize that,
Yeah. I have to put this in public and on record right now. If not for Brad Davies, you and I are not sitting in this room right now.
True story.
That's a fact of life.
True story.
And I owe a lot to Brad. I learned so much from him, and just the whole radio business, mixing music and just being a good person too. I mean, Brad was just such a good guy. He still is. He's down in Houston, right? Houston.
Yeah, he's doing real estate down in Houston now.
He's killing it.
Yeah,
he's killing it. But just being a good person, and that was Brad. Everybody loved him. He was just so friendly, and he always he was quick witted and smart and just very funny.
I think that's where he never said it, but I think that's where I got the turn it on, turn it off thing, and anybody that performs kind of gets it. I feel weird. 100%. I feel we're talking about it because it's it's something like the performers talk about. But if we're hanging out and I'm not working, I'm normally pretty quiet. Unless there's a few daddy sodas in me, and then that's completely different. But I'm normally pretty quiet and subdued. But when you turn it on, you turn it on, and I noticed that in Brad. Because I would get to see him like in between gigs and, when he's on the air and off the air, and it was like a flipping of the switch. And I realized that that's something that I ended up doing. And if anything, it helped me like maintain my energy, because you can't go 100%. You can't be on all the time. It's mentally just draining.
It is.
So that's something that I learned. He didn't teach it, but I observed it and kind of brought that in.
Well, it shows the level of professionalism you carry, because you can be in a bad mood or whatever, but once you get behind that microphone, you would never tell. The show must go on.
Show goes on.
Yeah.
I got served my divorce papers during the middle of the morning show.
Oh.
That's how they knew where I was. I was on the air. I was on with McBride. And now to be fair, I had as far as divorces go, it it was pretty painless. You know, all divorces suck, but in the world of divorces, you know, it was pretty painless. But you know, they still have to serve you papers, and so the server called the request line. I was on with McBride at the time. Called the request line, made sure I was here, and then walked in, came in, served me the papers, and he said, "Yeah, that's how I know you're, you know, where you were. You were on the air." And McBride and I are like, "Hold on a second. Do you want to come on the air with us?" He's like, "No, no, 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 no."
Wow, what content that would have been.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You got to be shitting bricks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's that, and there was times where there was, you know, I've made lots of mistakes, and you know, spent time with people I probably shouldn't have, and you know, significant others finding out and calling the request line and yelling at me before I go on the. It's, you know, I'm not proud of stuff like that, but it's part of my story. It's part of what I've done, and you know, you learn from every experience. So yeah, but yeah, you know, show's the show. You got to turn it on.
Yeah, it is. And again, back to the level of professionalism. If you got it, you can do it, type of thing. You know?
Well, thank you for the compliment.
No, it's true though. You do have that, I feel like everybody should learn that, but it's something you can't learn. It's something that's inside of you. If you know, any kind of musician or whatever. Radio DJ, it's all kind of the same. Magician, you know, I've had this conversation with Leon before.
Yep.
Talking about he could just turn it on too. You know, he could be in a depressed mood and just all of a sudden it's go time, and you'll never know. And actually, sometimes performing will get you out of that mood that you were in before. No,
absolutely. That energy that you get from the crowd absolutely will do it. Or you know, you end up doing a bit on air, and you know, it just hits just right, and you find it funny, and you're laughing at yourself because of how stupid it is, and you know, it kind of brings you out of it. But yeah, it really is something special, and obviously you have it, and I appreciate that in you. And by the way, this is awesome.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations on this. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what I was walking into.
You thought you were coming to my house?
Yeah, I've seen some of the things you do, especially Local Music Monday with Justin, and it looks amazing in here.
Thank you,
this
man.
is a really impressive setup. So congratulations on this.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's you know, it's a work of art, right? And especially when the quarantine was going on, like we had to do some changes around here just to take your mind off of what was going on.
Oh, sure.
And then now, what was up with you in quarantine? Were you still working?
I was radio station wise, we kept going, and local radio was more important than ever during the quarantine. Getting information out, I would have Kristen Copeland on once a week. Talking about the changes, because they literally were every day at one point.
Every day.
So we were talking, you know. So I would have her on the air. I would have Sheriff Mayshall. In fact, I still have Sheriff Mayshall on a weekly basis, talking about the legality and like, okay, well, what about this? And because who could go where, and what, you know, can you know, do you need foods, you know, to have a drink, and you know, your graduation party, how many people, and like all that stuff.
Are chicken wings considered food?
There was so many like nooks and crannies, and there was so much information coming out. Being able to, you know, get that information out, and on the flip side, being able to be a distraction to people, because it was so all-consuming. So being able to let people forget about their life for a couple minutes and just be like, all right, just let me enjoy some music, you know, laugh a little bit, and not talk about it too. That was a big thing, and have it be someone right here that, you know, with me, this is really weird. A lot of things that I've gotten lately is that they grew up with me. And it's making me feel really, really old, that a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I used to listen to you when I was a kid and growing up and da-da-da. And so I take it, you know, at first I'm like, oh, I'm old. But, you know, I'm learning to take it as a compliment, because
they've been with you for a long time.
I'm a voice of, you know, that they're used to, and something that is, you know, familiar to them. And if I can bring a little bit of calm and normalcy, you know, especially during that time, you know, it's an honor to do so.
That's awesome, bro. During the pandemic, what was some silver lining for you? Because there was a lot of negative going on, obviously, but was there any kind of silver lining for you? Was there anything that you did different, or stepping outside your comfort zone?
Seneca wine and liquor.
I hear you.
No, it taught me, because you know me, I've double dipped my entire life, as far as been full time doing radio and also doing gigs, whether it be at Sickenburger, whether it be at the electric company, or whether it be at Turning Stone or weddings or whatever it was. I would have all these gigs, and I would also do that, and I literally would burn the candle at both ends, and I've did that for more than 10 years. And the pandemic hit, all the gigs stopped for everybody. So this gave me a chance to, that's what this is like. Being home on a Friday night. I've never done this.
Right.
Being home on a Saturday, I'm not used to this. Granted, after about a month, I was over it and I was ready to get back to doing stuff. But at the same time, I got to appreciate what really, you end up in this bubble. It's work and you're in the grind and you're, okay, I have this. Okay, what's next? This, then this, then this. And it's on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. This let me personally just take a step back and appreciate what's actually important in life and who's important in life. And it really is amazing how, how busy or not busy your phone is when you're not performing out every single weekend. You know what I'm saying? So it really, was a reality check, but it let me relax and enjoy the finer things and the things that really, really matter in life.
Yeah. Good answer, man. When do you think the big Poppa DJing service really took off? Because I feel like you're one of the top DJs in the area. Well, hands down, you are.
Thank you.
And like,
that's very
I
nice
feel
of you to
like
say.
you have this crowd that follows you everywhere you go, and you have like a fan base that they
really weird to think about.
It's true though, man. And like anytime you go see you at Sickenburger, there it is. It's absolutely mobbed. It's packed. I mean, granted, it's a Saranac Thursday, but they're there each and every week because of you.
I was lucky enough to kind of build that up with the classics.
Yeah. Shout out Michelle and Steve.
Like I started DJing at Sickenburger before the harp was built.
Yeah.
Like that. That's how long ago, and it just kind of naturally progressed. And I'm very proud of what that has become on Varick Street. I'm very, very proud of that, and very proud to be working with the classics on that level. When I realized that I was getting a crowd on a regular basis, and I almost took it for granted, was when I was doing Friday nights at Cavallo's. I started doing it like on a whim, and then the next thing you know, it's they had me set up in the corner, up in the front, and then after a couple weeks, it was so busy, people started dancing in the back, so they moved me in the back. Next thing you know, they're moving tables out. Next thing you know, they're bringing more bar backs in to handle it. And then for a few years on Fridays and some Saturdays, it was shoulder to shoulder on the deck, and you could hear the music all the way down like near Shenatries.
Yeah.
And like I know because my buddy lived down there, and he was out walking his dog, and it was like 12:30, and he would text me. He'd be like, "Really, Kesha, right now?" But yeah, that was the first time where I was like, "Wow, this is really, really cool. This is something that's really special." And when other DJs would come to see me, I've never been like the beat matching DJ. That's never been my strength.
Right.
That's just not where I came from. I came as far as DJing out, I come from weddings, with Brad and whatnot. So my strength is reading people and hitting the right song at the right time and keeping energy and reading. It's an ebb and flow. You can't go 100% the whole time. You got to give them a chance to breathe and all that stuff.
There's definitely an art form to it.
It's weird for me talking about it like this because I never do. But yeah, there's a rhyme and a reason a lot of times, and you have to do it, and you have to do it over and over and over. The more you do it, you just kind of get used to it, and you can tell things a lot easier. And over the years, because I've become friends with DJs that are so technically amazing, whether it be DJ 360 or M-Dub, or whether it be Gabe, or whether it be my boy Van Slay, and watching those guys do their work. T-Sap back in the day.
Yeah, shout out Tone.
One of those, watching those guys do their work, and it's like watching a painter paint. Watching them do their art form, and it's really beautiful to see. There's no way I could compete on that level and do that, but I have this thing that I do over here. I'm pretty good at it, and people seem to like it. And I've gotten better with the beat matching and all that stuff, and over the years. But at the same time, what I do doesn't even compare to what they do on an artistic level.
Right.
Mine's more of a, get the crowd like in the moment, live performance type of thing. That's why, like during the pandemic, I DJ'd on social media a few times.
Did you?
Hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it because I have no idea what's working. I don't have a playlist when I go, like, unless I'm doing a wedding and there's certain songs you have to hit. When I go out, I don't have a playlist. I read the crowd and I find what's working, and I just kind of go from there. So me DJing with, an audience of, 2 people that are in my house, I'm just kind of going and, guessing, so that was a little frustrating, but yeah, I'm just kind of rambling now. So
No, you're really good at reading the crowd. Have you ever dipped your toes into maybe the scratching or beat making instead of beat matching, beat making?
No. I really haven't. Because of my day gig. I love being able to, like I said, when I was in 3rd grade, I wanted to be, a radio DJ. And being able to do that for a living is really something special. And, I've stayed here. I could have been one of those DJs that went market to market to market, but, then I had kids and I chose to put roots in, stay here for my kids, and, be able to grow what I have and, what has become, over the last few years. It really is something special to me. And I definitely appreciate that because, it just kind of is what it is. So me, like, making beats, I don't have a future beyond that because I'm here. You know what I'm saying? It's tough to do that unless you're willing to travel and work with people and whatnot. And like TSAP, Tony, like he got to travel the world with Coca-Cola.
Yeah. And David Corey.
For a year. There's no way I would have been able to do that. So like as tough as it would be for me to travel and do all that other stuff, I made the best of what my parameters were and just kind of went from there.
Amazing. You talk about not leaving and staying here in the area. And let's talk about the resurgence of Utica lately.
Oh, my God. Amazing.
Right? So we're doing this home and home thing, local supporting local, which, by the way, thank you so much because this has been awesome. This week has been cool. Me coming on your show, you coming here. We should do it often. But I want to talk about Utica and the resurgence that's going on. Like, I'm really interested to see what Utica is going to look like 10 years from now. What are some of the things you're excited to see pop up here in the U?
Before I go into that, for a long time, if it was local, it sucked.
Yeah, right.
That was for a long, long time. That was the narrative. Oh, we're going to get something from Syracuse. It's better. We're going to get something from out of state. It's better.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it clicked. And people are realizing, wow, the quality is really good, and the prices are better than if we got it from, the service beyond the sale is better, and people we're starting to realize that, and then things were starting to come in, and businesses were starting to come in, and it just kind of steamrolled from there. And I honestly, I have to give a lot of kudos not only to the local media for supporting that and putting spotlights on that, but also Made in Utica.
Yeah, for sure.
Those guys and gals really dug in and took a vested interest in the area as well.
They did.
And they're not from Utica.
Well, some are, but Justin's not.
No, Justin's from out of the area.
Yeah.
Like it's watching that kind of that's a little subculture of the whole thing, and that's just kind of like it in a nutshell, and so many different things that Utica can be and is growing into. Who thought we would have had another AHL team here after the Devils left when we were kids? You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like all those things, work to our advantage and just makes the area better.
And definitely got to attribute to the Comets, especially the Comets going into the Calder Cup as soon as they did. It was like the year after they were in existence, and like the sense of Utica pride that really steamrolled the whole Utica pride and the whole resurgence of things going on. That, and also got to give a big shout out to my friend Erin Hamlin for winning the bronze medal.
Yep.
Right, and she was the first woman in the United States ever to medal in luge.
Yep.
And right here in our backyard from Remsen, New York. And when she won, and then the Comets came in, and big shout out to Made in Utica as well. Mark Simon, congratulations to Mark Simon. He just had a baby.
Oh, my God, the baby's so cute.
But there was a lot of things attributed to, and then like the downtown revitalization going on right now.
Between all that and like Broadway Utica.
Broadway Utica, shout out Danielle.
They're starting to, over the last few years, they've been doing teching at the Stanley.
Yep.
And for people who don't know, that is where the people learn their choreography, but they need a stage to practice the set changes and the lighting cues and all that stuff. So they will come in and live in Utica for a month, and they'll eat in our restaurants, they'll stay in our hotels. That benefits us. Same thing with the Comets. They have teams come in. There's someplace they have to stay. They have to get food. All that stuff. It all snowballs. And again, as if one does better, everyone does better.
True.
It really and truly is. And that's one of the things I learned with McBride early on is support local and go from there.
Yeah. And you bring up the Broadway Utica thing with the teching. A lot of these producers love coming to Utica because it's so centrally located.
It's the Riggies.
And the radiant and the Riggies and the Greens, right? The food, of course, and the Utica Club, and we could go on and on.
Yeah.
The Half Moons and the cannolis, whatever. But they love the Stanley because, the hotels are right there and they're walking distance. So there's no travel.
Yep.
Right? There's only travel to get to the city. But prior to that, everybody can, or, during all that, they could just walk to the Stanley to learn their trade. Yeah. And the food, and there's restaurants and bars along the way. So it's really centrally located. And these producers love working here at the Stanley. I mean, the Stanley is a state-of-the-art facility. It's a world-class facility. And I'm glad that things are getting rolling over there. Again, Stomp coming up really soon in August.
Yeah, I believe they're teching there, teching at the Stanley as well.
They are. They're going to be teching, and Broadway Utica's got a lot of great stuff coming up. And then also over at the Stanley, they announced a bunch of comedians that are going to be coming up. Vic DiPeteto's coming back. The Uncle Louie Variety Show. Give a shout out to my boys there. So there's things coming back, and also there's some concerts that are going to be coming around too. Nice. So,
but that's why, and that's why I love being a part of this, and I love working for a local company like Galaxy and being able to, because we're born and raised here.
Yeah.
You and I have known each other since the 90s.
Yeah.
And if something's going on, you can text me or I can text you and be like, hey, what's going on? Da, 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 and like have all the different companies work together to benefit the area. Again, if one is doing good, everyone's doing good.
Exactly.
So let's get together and support that. Local supporting local. It just works.
What's something you want to see come to Utica as far as like maybe an industry or a business or something?
Oh gosh.
Is there anything out there you can think of?
I don't really know, because the chains are taking notice of Utica.
Yeah.
And that's good and bad. Mm-hmm. It's good because they're taking notice and we're making, we're putting a ripple in, but it's also bad because that takes away business from the local companies.
Yeah, mom and pop.
But at the same time, this, what do I want to see come to Utica? I don't really know. Like, we have professional sports.
We have it all.
We have concerts. We have plays. We have, special events. And we have the Boilermaker, for crying out loud. We have Saranac Thursdays. Like, there's so much to do. One of the things that I always said is, one of the things that always, like, annoyed the hell out of me is when people be like, there's nothing in you.
You don't hear that too much lately.
Not anymore, but you used to hear it a long time, for a long, long time. And the thing is, there is something to do almost every night of the week.
Yeah.
All you have to do is know who to ask and where to find that stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may have to ask a couple people, but you will find something to do. It may not be your cup of tea, but there's something to do.
Yeah.
And having that as part of Utica and Central New York, I appreciate that. When
you have a night off from DJing, do you go out? And if you do go out, where are you going?
It depends.
Yeah. You're like a live music guy? Would you go see music?
Normally, yes.
Yeah.
Normally, yes. I like supporting my friends. I like supporting the venues that support me. So, where am I going? I'm going to Varick Street. Mm-hmm. I'm going to Sickenburger. I'm going to the Harp. Go see Tommy over there. I'm going to the Turning Stone. When the Exit 33 was open, because they have me there on the regular. It's that's but I'll also, take a road trip to go see Showtime or Gridley Page or Last Left or ZZ. There's so much talent. It all depends on, who's playing where, what I had to do earlier in the day. And, sometimes, I just take a nap. I'll just sleep.
You brought up ZZ. Plug your interview. You have ZZ on your show today.
Oh, my God. I'm so proud of ZZ.
Me too, man.
ZZ, definitely check her out. She is the best female vocalist in the area.
Hands down.
Period. And she was selected by Match.com. They want to be known as Match now. They're doing a new advertising campaign where they're focusing on wedding singers. And it's all about, bring back the love and get back to loving. And that way we can get, all these wedding singers back to. And the whole concept was put together by Maximum Effort Productions, which is Ryan Reynolds' production company. So when you see it, and ZZ's one of the 12 from the nationwide, search of wedding singers. ZZ is one of the 12 that are on this, and she's featured throughout this song. When you hear the song, you can tell it's like a Ryan Reynolds. You can see like Deadpool singing this.
There's definitely humor.
It really is cool. So as soon as I saw it, I texted ZZ, and I was able to talk to her earlier this week. In fact, before I came here, I was finishing editing it down. It really is entertaining. She really is, salt of the earth. She's super duper, talented and just a nice person. And when you see good things happen to nice people, and they're hardworking, they're grinders. There's a mutual respect when you see people, hustling. It's just like, okay, I get it. She's a hustler.
Oh, 100%.
And she's absolutely talented, and she deserves all the good.
Yeah, she does. I want to see her on The Voice.
Oh, she would be amazing.
But think about all the great talent that has been on The Voice just from the area alone.
Oh, God, yeah.
And make it like a 100-mile radius.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's been like Sawyer Fredericks was from Amsterdam or something like that.
Yep, the Sawyer, there was Sean, there was Ryan.
Yep. There's been many, and a couple in Rochester. We can't forget about Austin Giorgio, a friend of ours over here at the D. He's from Rochester. So there's been a lot just in this little vicinity of upstate New York. Mm-hmm. And I attribute it to the weather sucking so bad. So people are stuck inside honing their craft. And so then when the weather's, nice, they could go out and display their talents.
So did you know that Ryan Quinn used to be my intern?
At the radio station?
Yeah.
You really?
Yeah. So he was, he was in college.
Okay.
And he would, it was a college intern program. And so he came in for the summertime, and he was helping on one of the other radio stations with like commercials and, doing audio editing and this, that, and the other. And then one day he's like, hey guys, listen to this. And he was playing something. We're like, wow, that's really good. He's like, yeah, that's me. Like, it's you? Get out of here. Whatever. And then I had to host or judge a talent show. And he was one of the competitors, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah!" So like, watching him go from like intern to singing at weddings and whatnot, and then seeing him on The Voice and interacting with Miley Cyrus and whatnot, and then being able to go from there. It really was really cool to watch that, and to kind of get like that behind the scenes with him and with Sean as as they were going through that whole process.
You've worked with a lot of talented people. Who's the one person that actually have gone on to do big things that you can think of?
Oh,
there's been a few, right?
I'll tell you what, there's nobody coming to mind right now. I just know that I'm very lucky to have worked with so many talented people in all different types, whether it be performing out or whether it be in radio or, whatever they're, being a chef, being whatever it is, watching someone do what they are great at really is amazing. And I respect that. And I love watching that. And I also know that if this were a different area, if we weren't, 4 hours away from New York City, I know that more of the talent that we have here would have more of a national spotlight.
I feel like that now that we're having this resurgence and people are actually moving to the area,
yeah,
and we're going to start seeing an increase in population. You're going to see an increase in talent. You probably see an increase of venues, hopefully, and people doing some really cool things. So maybe that will give us a little bit more of a national spotlight.
No,
as well.
Absolutely, and with social media, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
which is great because they didn't have, it just in the last 5 years is when it really like boomed and people really took notice and whatnot. So.
Seriously, and especially throughout this pandemic too.
Mhm.
And just, did you find yourself on social media more throughout the pandemic than you did before the pandemic?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
what else am I going to do?
constantly scrolling and scrolling. I'm so sick of scrolling.
Oh, man.
But we need it though, because as social media can be a little bit of a negative thing sometimes. But for our industry, what we do, it's necessary.
It's necessary. It could be entertainment, but it could also be toxic if you're not careful.
Right.
Because all of a sudden, what people are seeing is the very best version of what they want you to see.
Exactly.
It's not their real life.
Mm-hmm.
You see the picture on the holidays of the kids and the family all in the matching outfits and everyone smiling and happy. You don't see the hour and a half temper tantrum of trying to get the kids in the outfits and not wanting to stand still. They want to go play in the dirt and not wanting to stay still just for the picture. And all you see is the picture.
That's it.
And it can, if you have a bad day, you could very easily start comparing yourself to what you see and like, why isn't that? What am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case, So when you see that, just take it for what it was, what it is, and realize that is the very best version of what they want you to see. That's not real life.
You're absolutely right. You're 100% right. And stop posting politics on social media. I can't stand it.
That's one thing that's one thing I learned really quickly is just never talk politics
Or religion.
Yeah, I never do.
Yep, me too.
It's very polarizing. I have my beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
the way I look at the world, and the way I look at it is, if you don't vote, you can't bitch. That's number one. And number two, I'm either canceling out a vote that disagrees with me, or I'm adding to, with what I like. But my job is to be an escape.
Yeah.
My job isn't to incite. You know what I'm saying? I'm supposed to be escape. I'm the good time guy. It's supposed to have a good time. Let's relax. Let's have fun. I don't want to debate you about politics or anything like that. No, I want to have fun.
Yeah.
Let's play some music. Let's dance. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. The politics is what ruins social media, I think.
It's definitely a dark hole if you want to go down that.
Yeah. And I remember back 10 years ago, before all this stuff, there was no politics on it. It was nothing but pictures and getting reacquainted with friends and promoting events.
I remember people get, the worst thing in the world is because I wasn't in somebody's top 8 on MySpace.
We're not friends anymore. I'm not in your top 8.
What the heck? What did I do?
MySpace was so cool.
Yeah.
I loved it because you could go on. You had music you could play. Yep. You could design your own backdrop and whatever the hell you wanted.
Everyone learned how to code really, really quick with that.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That was it. I forgot how to code after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Facebook wiped that off.
Justin Timberlake owns MySpace now.
Does he really?
Yeah, he bought it, for nothing. Because no one's really using it, but yeah, right. he's who owns it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so it's still a thing.
Yeah, I mean it's still there. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. Did you ever get rid of yours?
No.
You could probably still sign in if you can remember the password.
I don't remember. I can't remember my password for any of this.
I'm sure you still have the email address that's associated with it.
No, I don't. I think it's the old electric company email address. I don't know. I'll have to look. I'm sure it's.
I deleted mine.
You did?
When a relationship went sour and I just, I said, screw it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish I had it because some of the pictures and stuff like that are on there. I don't have anywhere else. I didn't have anywhere else. So I wish I had those. You know?
The pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you on that, man. But MySpace, what a great platform. And it led everything. That was the beginning. It was the catalyst to what social media is today.
That and AIM.
AIM?
Yeah, AOL Messenger.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
One of the coolest things that I ever got to do that ever happened on the radio is because of AIM. So Dennis DeYoung, the lead singer of Styx,
yep.
He was coming to the Turning Stone. And I was working at Rock 107 at the time, and I had a relationship with the PR guy. So he would send me the email addresses so I could just be like, hey, I'm Rock 107. I'd love to do an interview, da-da-da-da. and I realized it was at an AOL thing. So that means I could message them. So I messaged them rather than send an email. We start going back and forth. Turn to find out it was Dennis DeYoung's daughter.
Wow.
Dennis DeYoung's daughter was because Dennis DeYoung was doing, touring solo. Dennis DeYoung's daughter did PR for Jack Daniels and Southern Comfort and took care of her dad's PR on the side, just, because it's her dad. After an hour going back and forth on AIM, we had Dennis DeYoung on the show the next day. We had Frank or I on stage introducing the show, and we had a pair of tickets to give away.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're doing the interview, and breaking chops. He's super engaging. He's like, "Hey, do you guys want to hear a song?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." So he puts the phone down on a piano, and he starts doing, and he hit that first note of "Lady." He's like, "Lady," and like Frank and I, we both like our eyes bugged out, and we got goosebumps. It was just so cool. It just really was, because it came out of nowhere, and he just hit that, like, it was iconic note.
I got to repeat myself, man. It's been a blessed life.
It really and truly has. Yeah. It really and truly has. Being able to interview Barney in character, interview Kermit the Frog in character, sing Rainbow Connection with Kermit the Frog, for crying out loud, like stuff like that. Come on, who does that?
Yeah, you can't make this shit up.
No, no, not at all.
You guys check out Big Poppa every afternoon, Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock on Mix 102.5 FM, and also you guys stream too, right?
Yeah, just mix1025.com. You can listen online.
Mm-hmm.
We have a free mobile app you can do, and if you have an Amazon smart speaker, you can say, Alexa, enable the Mix 102.5 skill. That activates everything, and then after that, just say, Alexa, open Mix 102.5.
We were texting back and forth the other day. I'm like, I feel so bad I don't know any of this music.
No, but that's...
It's newer.
To
me, it's mixed though. There's some 90s you play. There's some 80s and stuff in there too, right?
But that proves my point we were talking about earlier, how you kind of age out of the format.
True.
I'm not in my 20s anymore. I'm 43. Mm-hmm. My oldest son is in his 20s. Mm-hmm. So relatability, and so like you don't relate to that. Anymore. You don't, where before well, actually, I know you wouldn't have known the top 40 songs anyway.
No. Seriously, even back then.
No, when we would DJ for St. Patrick's Day,
I knew Frankie Valli.
I would play all the new stuff, knowing that you would play all the old stuff because that's the only stuff that you knew.
And it worked out perfect.
Absolutely.
That way, actually.
Yeah.
It really did. Because I didn't know any of the newer stuff at all. I didn't know Jay-Z or whatever, any of that stuff. But, I knew House of Pain in Cypress Hill.
I knew AC/DC.
AC/DC and Def Leppard, Hilarious, man. We had some great times, though, back in the day. For sure. Dude, this idea of yours was awesome. Thank you for coming up with it and including me and doing this whole supporting local thing.
No, thank you for being you, and I'm glad that between the Disruption Network and Mix 2.5 and Galaxy Media, just working together and being able to do something fun like this.
Totally.
Because in another world, it's like, oh no, we can't. No.
That's what I dealt with in the beginning of all this. A lot of people didn't want to come on because they figured we were competition and this and I'm like, no, I just want to support. I just want to it's content, know?
Right. This is it helps both of us.
Right.
I
agree.
This introduces me to people who may have never, listened to the radio and is new to the area and doesn't, I'm not on their radar.
Right.
And at the same time, how many people did we introduce to the D on Mix 2.5?
A bunch, man. Thank you.
It's all about,
I did get a couple messages too the other day.
Local supporting local.
Yep.
It helps everybody. If one's prospering, the other one is.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Much love to you, Gary. Thank you so much for doing this.
I love the shit out of you. I'm so happy for you. I love,
man.
Every time we bump into each other, I'm so happy. I'm glad you're in a good mental space. I'm glad that you're
kinda.
Well,
I'm kidding.
Game face. You've turned it on.
I turned it on, right? No, actually, I am in a great mental state.
No, and I can tell because I've known you for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for that. I'm
Thank you,
happy
man.
that you're in a good space. I can tell that. And that was one thing that I was thinking about last night. I was like, yeah, he really looked good. I mean, besides like, losing some weight and whatnot, but like you looked healthy, you looked relaxed.
Thanks, man.
You looked like you were in a good place.
I am.
And so I'm so happy that, the D's doing well. I'm happy that Central New York's, especially with the pandemic, everyone's making the best of it. And, we're on the upswing, so I'm just really, really happy. And I'm proud of you for being able what you've been able to build here. So congratulations.
Thanks, brother. That means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
Oh,
man.
thank you for having me, man. I definitely appreciate it.
If people are interested, again, in maybe having you DJ their wedding or an event or whatever, how they get in touch with you?
As social media, just the Big Poppa CNY, BIGPOPPA CNY, and hit me up from there. And it doesn't matter the platform, I'm there on it, and it's a good time.
Great hang today. We got to do this again.
Absolutely,
we must do it again.
All right, I gotta go.
You gotta go to work.
I gotta go to Mix 102.5. I'm on at 3:00 with ZZ. It's an amazing conversation. Hear all the behind the scenes stuff of her flying to California and doing all the recording and the songs. And when did she realize that it was for Match.com? Because she got hired and it was like, okay, I'm gonna go and do a part of an advertising campaign. She didn't realize until she got the song that it was for Match.
Wow.
Yeah.
Much love to her too, man. I'll definitely tune in. I can't wait to hear that.
Absolutely.
Shout out to ZZ. Go check out ZZ when she's out there playing again. Hopefully the casino gets open really soon and you can go out and check her out. Turquoise Tiger out. She's always there.
I'm very lucky that I've been able to like run into her there, and I've been able to like DJ all the different venues. The only one I haven't done is the Turquoise Tiger.
Wow.
I've done the gig.
Yeah.
I did the Tin Rooster a ton. I've done Lava. On the big days, I'm in the atrium. For like it. It's a good time.
Yeah, it is definitely
really
a good time.
Again, very lucky and blessed to be able to do what I love for a living, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to EJA Moving Services, Joey's at 307, Utica Coffee, my attorney Dave Longaretta, and Saranac Brewery. We come back.
It kind of concerns me that you're always like, I got to give a shout out to my attorney. Like, what is going on that you're not talking about? That you're giving a shout out to your lawyer on the regular. Like,
I have.
Like,
He's a sponsor.
Okay.
And he's my lawyer. He's been keeping me out of trouble for like 20 plus years.
I'm just making like, is there something I should know?
We'll talk off air. No, there's not. Just Dave's a great guy, and he's super supportive of the D, and we've got a great relationship, and he's helped us out a lot. So, yeah, he's a great man. But I do want to make mention on Monday, Local Music Monday comes back with Justin Smithson, our good friend Justin Smithson, and Annie in the Water is going to join us, and they're going to perform live in the studio. So that goes down on Monday. Gary, much love to you, man. Thank you so much for coming in, and you guys all have yourself a good day. Later.